Welcome back to JJK. We have podcast episode 10, the Big Ten. We got the hockey game later this week on Friday. And number 19, Omaha, taking on number 5, Denver. Hopefully they win. It'd be crazy. But we had a big super wild card weekend. So we got a lot to dive into. And we're starting with Green Bay obviously dominated Dallas. Physically, they put in the second strings, made it close at the end. 16, not even really close. But it was a closer game at the end. So Green Bay dominated. But do they have a shot against San Fran?
I think if they played to the level of ability that they did versus the Dallas Cowboys, I think they have a clear chance. But I still gotta go with the run game because I know Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb weren't meshing well the entire game.
Yeah.
But I think if, say something like Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk and they get rolling, I think it might be lights out for the Green Bay Packers because they got pretty lucky. Of course, I'm a Vikings fan. I hate the Green Bay Packers, but you still just, they got pretty lucky. What a day to not want to play football for the Green Bay Packers, not for the Dallas Cowboys.
So
it's just
32-48 was the score. Green Bay winning by 16, obviously, in the end there.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas put up 8 or something points with Green Bay second strings. Here's the thing. Green Bay beat Dallas by 16. San Fran beat them by 32.
Mm-hmm.
So San Fran allowed them to 10 points. Green Bay allowed them to 30-something, I think. 36. Yeah. So I think if Green Bay plays the football they did in that first half of the game, their defense played amazing. They created turnovers and a lot of stuff. They created turnovers. They made Dak uncomfortable in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
If they can do that with Brock Purdy, I think Brock Purdy will have a poor game. But here's why I don't think Green Bay has a shot. Green Bay is 25th against the run. They will not be able to stop the league's leading rusher in Christian McCaffrey at all. I think he gets 300 yards this game maybe because that might be what all Kyle Shanahan does all game.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And also they have Deebo Samuel, which I know he's not the most elite rusher, but he can be good in the backfield. So they have 2 people to split the carries. And you have a wild card in Deebo and George Kittle. He's a wild card for those, little out routes or those in routes. And it's just, I don't know if the linebackers can really keep up. And Jair was really banged up this game. Coming in, has his ankle, I think, was pretty banged
up. Yeah, his ankle. So I think the only way they can do this is if they make Purdy create turnovers, which Purdy obviously, he hasn't been known to make turnovers, 31 touchdowns. He didn't have a lot of picks this year, I believe. He only had 15 total picks this year. So,
which isn't bad.
I think he had 11 picks this year. That's 15 in his career.
Yeah,
and he went 31 touchdowns for 11 picks, and 4 of them were against the Ravens. He did look not nearly as good as he should have at the end of the year. But I think they'll get George Kittle, they'll get Deebo Samuel involved in that passing game enough to make Brock Purdy feel comfortable. I think that O-line will hold Green Bay's furious front seven for enough, and they will eventually come out on top. I think they win by
MVP.
17-10 for real. 10 to 17 points. I think Green Bay can keep it close in the first. Well, no, we're not. But that's just my intake. All right. So next, staying on Green Bay, this is more Dallas side. Should Mike McCarthy be fired? I'll let you go first on this one, Kosh.
I think Mike McCarthy kind of has to go after that. He choked so hard, unbelievably. They have such a talented team, and they just always choke in the playoffs. And I just don't know why. Mike McCarthy isn't the most horrible coach. He's better than most of them. He's probably in that top 50%. But I'd still say Mike McCarthy kind of has to go. And there's possibility that Bill Belichick goes to the Cowboys. And I don't think the GM for the Cowboys really wants to continue to roll with a team with a coach really that doesn't know how to perform in the playoffs. And Bill Belichick has shown that he is amazing in the playoffs. He's had multiple Super Bowls. He's created dynasties, and I think that's probably what the Cowboys are going to really want, and that's not something they can get from Mike McCarthy.
All right. So here is why I'm saying Mike McCarthy needs to be fired today. Mike McCarthy is 3-6 at his stint in the Dallas Cowboys playoffs. His wins are against the Lions in his first year in the wild card round. The Seattle Seahawks, which that was their good one, and then the weak Tampa team that shouldn't have even made the playoffs. Obviously, their NFC South. They went 8-9 that year, I think, and made the playoffs. So I think he needs to be out of here instantly. I think Mike McCarthy is not a guy who can lead this team to what they need and what their expectation has been every year, and that's the Super Bowl. So I think they fire McCarthy, and also why Dallas should fire McCarthy is they have all the options in the world.
Exactly.
I think Dallas can get Bill Belichick. I think they can get Jim Harbaugh because I don't see any reason why a coach wouldn't want to go to the best roster available who's looking for a head coach. Chargers have a good roster, but it ain't as good as Dallas. So I think Dallas could get any coach they want and somehow are rolling with Mike McCarthy. Another thing, if they don't fire Mike McCarthy, Dan Quinn must be fired.
Yeah.
If Dan Quinn is not fired, they're just going to be the same old Cowboys. Dominating the regular season, barely miss the 1 seed, and lose in the wild card. So, I think Mike McCarthy needs to be fired immediately.
Yeah, I agree. I probably couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. So next, the Texans dominate Cleveland in a crazy game. Cleveland embarrassed. Same old Cleveland. But I didn't expect it to be this bad. Joe Flacco, me and Kaj both picked Cleveland. Joe Flacco looked horrible. So, do the Texans have any shot at the Super Bowl after their dominating win? They will play Baltimore in the wild card round. Or in the division round.
I don't think they have that good of a shot. I'm not knocking. I'm not I'm not hating on the Texans. They have a pretty talented roster. But look, they lost their star receiver, Tank Dell. Nico Collins is banged up. And I think they lost their third string receiver, I believe. And I just don't think that roster could really keep up with the level of talent on the Ravens. Because Lamar is a wild card on the field. He can, run out of the pocket, make a throw, or run out of the pocket and run. And he's just that, Will Anderson Jr. is going to have his hand full, and J.K. Dobbins not the most horrible running back in the world. He's a pretty good running back. And Zay Flowers, of course, and also with OBJ, and I just don't think that defense could keep up with the Ravens. And CJ Stroud, of course, will do CJ Stroud things during that game, but also the Ravens' defense is pretty underrated. So I think they're going to have their hands full, and it's probably going to be a touchdown game, maybe.
The Ravens are arguably the best defense, and that is the only way Houston could win this game is by a dominating offense. And I think the Ravens will allow 30-plus points, but I think Houston could allow 40. So I think the Texans' Super Bowl hopes will be diminished this week, sadly. I love Houston. I'm rooting for you, CJ, but I don't think there's any way you could go out there and beat the Baltimore Ravens. There's no way they get first rounded again after they just did against Tennessee a few years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So, whoa. I'm kidding. We all expected this. Me and Kaj both picked Tampa Bay. Few Huskers having some great games. Trey Palmer with a long touchdown. Levante David playing great. So it was 9-32, I believe, at the end. Do you think
9-32.
Nick Sirianni needs to be fired effective immediately?
Okay.
I have to.
I have to go as well, but let me say something real quick. Trey Palmer ran a 4.33 on that 57-yard touchdown. He leads the draft in speed. So I don't know how Trey Palmer fell that low, but I mean, I just got to talk about my boy Trey Palmer. He's gonna be a weapon against the Detroit Lions, but we'll get to that later. I do think Sirianni needs to be fired. I just that Eagles team, it's too good to be first rounded. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pretty much ended his career because Jason Kelsey only came back for another Super Bowl ring. And I just don't think Sirianni has the coaching ability of what the Eagles GM wants. And I fully expected them to at least make the championship. But I just don't think Sirianni can stick around because he just got first rounded against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who barely got into that playoff spot out of a pitiful division.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Common games won is what got them into the playoffs over the Saints. So I think Nick Sirianni needs to be fired. And I know it's crazy. He coached in the Super Bowl 11 months ago. But last year, it was his coordinators. This year, it's his coordinators again. Nobody has ever gave this guy credit. And it's always been his coordinators and coordinator that. Even with Kyle Shanahan, his coordinators leave every year. Their GM just left, I think, to go to Carolina. So I think that Nick Sirianni needs to be fired because it's never been him looked as the guy. And that's what Philly needs. They need a coach who can be looked as the guy who is doing what their success is amounting to. Obviously, great start to the season, 10-1, but they ended it off 1-6. So I think Nick Sirianni needs to be fired, same way Mike McCarthy does. I think you can't. I mean, he just ended Jason Kelsey's career, which we'll get to later. But actually,
by the way, Nick Sirianni the Eagles team lost 5 of the last 6 games they played. They were number 1 seed, 10-1, and they choked. Like, I think that's got to be a factor in the decision of the GM.
Yeah, I think the GM owner. They need to talk and get him out of there. Same way Jared Jones needs to get McCarthy out of there. So, some sad news I woke up to this morning. Jason Kelsey announced it was his last football game. A pitiful loss.
It was a very pitiful loss by Jason Kelsey has played unbelievably. He's had an amazing career. And Tom Brady also went out first round. His last football game was against the Cowboys, and he lost that game in a very horrible fashion, I'd like to say. And I just believe Jason Kelsey probably hasn't he's been a really good player, and he's been a mentor to that offensive line, which has boosted that offensive line's ability to play. And
the one positive I can get from this is I don't think we have to worry too much about the tush push anymore. I think that play was a lot of Jason Kelsey. Do have a Husker boy starting. I don't know if you said that. I can't hear anymore.
We have a Husker.
All right, yeah, there we go. But there is a Husker now. There's a Husker now starting in Philly. So at center, obviously, maybe not. They might draft somebody or something, but who knows? All right, so that's all we have for you.
The center's name is the 51st overall pick in the 2022 draft. The Eagles had selected Nebraska center Cam Jurgens. Cam Jurgens will be the starter, at least I hope. And fun fact, Jason Kelsey said that is an unbelievable center, and you need to draft him. Probably the best center I've ever seen in my entire life. And he told the GM to draft him. So you gotta root for him. You gotta root for him.
I know, he's a Husker. I got to. All right, so next, everybody's favorite part of the NFL. Updated predictions. Me and Kosh tied. I didn't do the math for what the number was. I just know we tied. So it's 60-60 right now because I picked Miami over KC, but he picked Dallas over Green Bay, so worked out. All right, so we're going to start off with this Saturday game, the middle of the day game at 3:30. It is the Texans at the Ravens. We covered on this a little already today, so I am personally.
Yeah.
Oh man, do I want to take CJ? No, I gotta take. I don't know. You go first, Kaj. I can't decide.
Okay. I think I've already made up my mind on this. My mindset is look at the teams around the quarterback and what the injuries have done to those teams. And Tank Dell is injured or at least really banged up.
Yeah, he is. He broke
And
his leg.
yeah. And it's just CJ Stroud doesn't have much around him. I'm not saying he's not Panthers level, but he has like some of his star players are injured. And look at Lamar Jackson. He has Zay Flowers, J.K. Dobbins. He has Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah, I just gotta go Lamar Jackson. And my score prediction will be, I think it'll be a high scoring game. I think I'll go 31-21. I think the high powered offense is going to wear out the defense
All right.
and of the Texans.
So I know I picked Baltimore to win a second ago when we were talking about Houston's Super Bowl chances.
Oh no.
That was logical, Jacob. This is me
Oh
coming from my
no.
feelings. I think Houston will win this game. I think CJ Stroud's
Illogical,
offense
Jacob.
will put him the points. I think CJ Stroud will have minute 30 on the clock, have to go win the game with a touchdown or a field goal. He'll get his team down there, and he'll win the game. I think the Texans will come on top, and I think they'll be going to the AFC
But
Conference
Jacob,
Championship.
he did this 2-minute drill before and tried to get in range for a field goal. A regular season game that didn't mean anything. He tried a 2-minute drill and didn't get his team to the minute drill, and he didn't get his team to a field goal. I
But he
just
also
can't understand
did
that
do it
logic.
when he needed a touchdown against Tampa Bay with the game on the line before anybody
Touche.
believed in them. So I'm
Touche.
going to have to take Houston here. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be 34, 31, something like that. I think it'll be high scoring. I think Baltimore will flip up in the first half a lot, and then they'll claw their way back a little bit. But I think Houston will keep their lead and win the game. All right. Next, we have Green Bay at San Francisco. This one, I will stay with my original pick. I'm taking San Fran to win. I
Same,
think
yeah. I got to take
they'll
San
keep it.
Fran.
I think even Green Bay could be leading at half. I think leading at half, they could keep it close. But I think Green Bay is gonna get beat
I
out
think
by
I
the run.
got.
The
I think
run is
I
going to
gotta
kill
go.
Green Bay. Joe Barry will kill Green Bay's hopes of winning this game. Joe Barry.
I gotta go 28-31 with the Niners coming out on top. I think it
That's
will be a
close.
close game. I think it will be a very close game, but I think the running game towards the end is just gonna kill the line. It's gonna kill the defense. I think that's just what's gonna happen.
I think it'll be 17-20 at half. Green Bay leading, but the Niners receiving the kick. And I think the game will end 23 to like 34, 31, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next, we have the Buccaneers at Detroit Sunday at noon, or not noon, 2. This one's tough for me. You can
This
go
one's
first.
also tough for me. I think you're always putting me on the spot, Jacob. I think you
Yeah,
need
I
to
do.
go first here
Okay. Well, I went first last time. All right, but I'll go
because
first.
there was an easy game for you to predict.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll go first. I'll take Detroit. I think Detroit will play their hearts out. I think Detroit fan base will be, again, they get another home game. I think the fans will be there, the fans will show out, and the fans will see their team go to the NFC Championship game for maybe even the first time ever. I don't know. I know they've never been to a Super
No,
Bowl.
they've been to the championship against the Cowboys, I think, when Barry Sanders was around.
Okay.
I think.
But I will take Detroit.
Listen to me here. This is a home game.
My score will be 30. No, I don't think Detroit will give up that much. 27-20. Detroit.
All right. Listen to me here. Tampa Bay is going to be playing on the road. in this Ford Field. People cried in the stadium when they won. People were sobbing. People were like, it was a fun time. And you just gotta go with that story. And I think I gotta go with the Detroit Lions because they're the team. This isn't this they aren't trying to this is more for how much this team, this organization has been through these past few years. And I just gotta go with the Detroit Lions because they're playing like they've never been in this spot, which they really haven't. And
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an extremely close game. But looking at what Tampa Bay did and what Baker Mayfield does, I think Baker Mayfield probably sells the game at the end. I think it'll be 28-21 with a touchdown to Amon-Ra St. Brown. He'll probably get away or something like that from the DBs. And sadly, Trey Palmer's Super Bowl hopes will die down. But they're going to be back next year. Trust me.
They ain't winning their division next year. You see, New Orleans just fired Pete Carmichael. Oh yeah, we winning the Super Bowl. No more coaches to hold us back. No more coaches to hold us back. All right, Kansas City at Buffalo. You're going first on this one. I have no clue.
Okay, this is tough because I think where are they playing at Arrowhead?
They're playing at Buffalo.
At Buffalo, which that makes it so much different. Because if they're playing at Arrowhead, I think I'd have to go with the Chiefs on here. But also Buffalo, if they're playing at home, Bills Mafia will be there. They pretty much, I think, they might own the Chiefs after this game, and I gotta go with Bills Mafia here. They're playing for too much for them to be beat by Kansas City. And I think it's going to be a criminally close game. I think it'll be 24-21 with the final seconds with Bass kicking a field goal straight down the middle to end the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl run.
All right. So after the Kansas City Chiefs bye week, I said they would lose to Buffalo, and I said they'd go undefeated and go to the Super Bowl and lose to San Fran. I was obviously wrong about the undefeated part. They continue to play a lackluster season. They looked great against Miami. And I'm taking Kansas City. I know it's in Buffalo, but I'm staying with my pick that Kansas City will go to the Super Bowl. There's really no reason I can pick Kansas City here, except for the fact that I just think Mahomes in the playoffs will be too much for the Bills' defense to stop. So I think the Bills will. I mean, they let Pittsburgh, who had one of the worst offenses all year, put some points on them. It wasn't too many. It was 17. But if Pittsburgh can put 17, Mahomes can easily hang 30 on them. So I think Mahomes will win this game for the Chiefs. I think their defense will – I think this will be the first game their defense actually sucks. But their defense won't suck. It'll be good enough to get them through. And the Chiefs will come out on top 30-24. Mahomes will have a walk-off touchdown.
All right.
So those are all the predictions for this week. I had to pick a few different from college so I could get my score up there. But now we have some college basketball news and some college hockey news coming up. So first we are starting off with UConn wins games after Purdue loses to Nebraska, Houston loses to Iowa State, and Kansas loses to somebody, and Tennessee also loses. Forgot who Kansas lost to. And Tennessee, but one of them lost to UCF. I think that was Tennessee. I think UConn actually might win the whole thing this year. I know they did. I think they might go back to back. I think UConn's playing really good basketball. They normally play like a 3-4 seed into the tournament, and then they turn things up in the tournament. I think they win this year, and they officially become one of those blue-blooded teams that everybody talks about. I think Creighton, I think UConn. Sorry, I was looking ahead. UConn can win this tournament again. They probably wouldn't be my pick right now, which we will get to soon. But I think UConn can get there to the championship and even win the whole thing.
All right, here's my standpoint. I think UConn is a explosive team, and I think they could go far in March Madness. But you know what team beat UConn last year?
Who?
Creighton. Creighton beat UConn
They
last
actually
year.
play each other tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Exactly.
So that'll be a
And they
big
play
game.
them again. And they play them again later in the season, which those two teams I think are really good contenders to go to maybe the Final Four or even win it all. But I think the Creighton Blue Jays can pull off this upset. And of course, they didn't look good against St. John's yesterday, barely coming out with a W. But I still think that high-powered team, if they start off hot like they did yet a couple days ago and keep continuously hitting those threes, I think they can probably beat that high-powered UConn offense.
I think Creighton will always just come down to how they do three-wise. I don't think it'll be enough to beat UConn. I think UConn will continue to tear. But UConn, I do see falling, which we'll get to after we talk about the Huskers for a second. But I don't think Creighton will beat them. We will do a game that is a good game in either college basketball, NBA, or something to be the tiebreaker for if we tie in our NFL predictions.
Yeah.
I would do the hockey game that we're going to be going to, but I think we're both going to pick the same team. So, next on our agenda, we have the Huskers beat Purdue. We love that. I told you, College, if they made their threes and they shot good from the field, they would win. And you were like, "There's no way." And I told you, College. All right, but
I mean,
can't.
Asian
I'm
Curry went
honest.
off.
I did also. I did also say that they would get blown out of the water, which I'm proud of you, Nebraska. I'm proud you didn't. But then you went and blew your chances of being ranked against Iowa. You would for sure be a top. You'd be in that 25 to 20 range right now. But you sold at the end, like always.
I think Iowa owns us for basketball. Iowa owns us. Same thing with
Iowa
Creighton.
owns us
Creighton
for
also
everything,
owns
I
us.
swear.
I mean, football, they only have one national championship that they didn't even win. So, I mean,
yeah.
We kind of own them there. Next year. We'll talk about that next year.
Yeah, that's sadly. So staying on
Asian
task.
Curry went off.
Yeah, they played great.
Unbeatable, untouchable.
If we lose to Iowa, we could be on. We got a game on Wednesday. I think it's against like Indiana or something.
Yeah,
and then
it's like Indiana.
We have the big game that I think if we win it could potentially get us ranked against Northwestern on Saturday. We do host them. I think our problem is the same problem the Warriors had last year. I don't think we can play on the road.
Yeah, no, we can't play on the road 100%.
We're 1-3 on the road, 11-1 at home.
And we played Purdue at home.
And we beat them.
And
our
we
one
beat
loss
them.
at home is to Creighton, but some of our losses in the Big Ten were when we were 1-3 away. We're Wisconsin, who's looking really good right now. We do play Illinois, who just dropped a game. We play Illinois pretty soon, I believe. I think it's early February. But we have actually that is what will get us like top 10 ranked. If we can win out in January against Rutgers, which we should beat, Northwestern, which we definitely can, Ohio State, which we definitely can, Maryland, which we again definitely can, and then go beat in the beginning of February, beat Wisconsin and Illinois. I think we're a top 10 team. Top 15 for sure. So I think Nebraska basketball has a lot of hope this year. And the main question we're here for is, can they win the tournament? Or can they win a tournament game? Which I think they can. I think they'll be the 8 or 9 seed.
I think we can win a tournament game. Yeah.
I think they'll be from 6, depending how the rest of the season goes. They'll be from like 5 to 9 seeded, and I think they can definitely come out on top in the tournament game. But the thing is, they won't be playing at home at all in the tournament because I don't think they're going to be one of the top 4 teams.
No.
I mean, they'd have to win out to be a top 4 team. Like, they can't lose again.
Yeah, and I think
And they
just
don't
the
even
home.
play
I
anybody
think,
that good in the rest of the year besides with
I
stuff.
think we can probably win a tournament game, but it's gonna be like the closest we've ever played.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just
we have
it's going
to.
to be bad basketball against a bad team. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we're going to play St. John's, who Creighton just barely beat. I think we're going to play them is my prediction. And I think we're going to beat them, but barely. All right, so staying on the tournament side of NCAA men's basketball, who do we think's going to win it all? I mean, I
Win
can't
it
pick Purdue
all.
anymore.
Yeah. Also, Purdue got
Tournament's a crazy
upset.
place.
My March Madness bracket was horrible last year,
Don't even get me
mainly
started.
because Purdue got upset and my dad beat me by one game.
I think I lost mine too last year. Can always win in
And
fantasy football. Never in the bracket though. Haven't
I
gotten
mean,
that down to a
fantasy
science.
football. You're Super Bowl champ right here. That won the most Mickey Mouse Super Bowl of all time. But we won't talk about it.
Nobody
I
checks
won
that league, and that's why I'm saying it's the one with all our friends, and nobody checks it.
I mean, Carson
Except
checks
for
it.
him, Carson, and I think my brother
Shout out
did
Carson.
every once
Shout
in a
out
while.
Carson.
Shout out Carson.
Shout out.
It wasn't it you two in the championship?
Jackson made it, and Jackson also checks.
Oh, Olfers. Yeah, Jackson Olfers, Colton's brother checks. But me, Reese,
Shout out.
we're going to put it on a different app soon, so we will check.
Yeah,
Getting
ESPN.
off topic, I think who's going to win it all, I think this is North Carolina's year. North Carolina
Tar Heels?
Yeah, Tar
Or
Heels.
NC State?
Tar Heels.
Tar Heels? All
Yeah.
right.
They played good. They just scored 100 on Syracuse. That was funny.
Yeah, that was crazy.
They beat North Carolina State by 13. They beat ranked Clemson. Killed Pitt. They lost to UConn, which was bad. And Kentucky, UConn and Kentucky, which doesn't help their case. But they beat number 7 ranked at the time Oklahoma. So they've shown they can beat ranked teams and the big powerhouses. So I think they can go all the way, and I think North Carolina or UConn is my pick. I think Creighton will go to the Final Four this year.
All right. Give me Creighton as your March Madness winners. Reason being, if we continue to play like we did at the beginning of the game at St. John's, we went on like a 20-8 run, I believe, a 16-8 run, and we were hitting threes like it was light, like it was a layup. And towards the end, the refs gave St. John's some help. You know, they got a tech that we 100% shouldn't have gotten. And it was just bad. We played some bad basketball at the end. But if we continued to play like that, we would blow St. John's out of the water. And I just got to go with Creighton. And, you know, maybe Nebraska could Mickey Mouse a March Madness win, maybe even make it to the tournament.
Maybe.
But either way, you never know. You just never know when it comes to March Madness. You never know.
I think Nebraska could make it to the, like the top. They could make it to the Sweet 16. I think that's all I can do.
I think we might be a 16 seed. Like, I think that's how bad and how like Mickey Mouse we're gonna make March Madness. I think we have to play in and we win our play-in game.
Oh, you think we're gonna be like an 11, Nebraska?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to like play in or something like that.
That sucks. I think it should just be the 16s that play in. But that's a topic for another discussion. All right, ending today off with some hockey news. We have the upsetting number 4 at the time, North Dakota, I believe, because we're seeing them play Denver. Yeah, so they beat North Dakota And I think this gives me so much hope for UNO to go beat Denver on Friday. That please.
We will be at that game. We will be at that game.
We'll be there. And if they win that game, I think Crate or UNO will have a chance to make some big noise in hockey this year.
The last time I went to a UNO game, we played Arizona State.
Ooh.
I think
this year.
It was this season. It was this season. I think this or last season. It was something like that. But Arizona State, and we won barely. We played horribly in the third period. They told us to bring the fury, but we brought a nothing burger. It was horrible. But if we play like that versus this Denver team, we might get 6-0'd. But if we play like we did against North Dakota, we might at least get 3-2 in overtime. This UNO team, as I said, plays good. I've told this to Jacob. They play good and high stress and high risk, high reward. If you don't win, you don't get anything type games. And in overtime, they're really good. They're good against those 3-on-3 matchups between their team, the away teams, or the adversary team's best and our best. And we play good in those situations, but pretty much we just need to win against these good teams so we could potentially be a top 10 rank by the end of the season. And if we continue to play to that ability, we probably really, there's a high chance we'd be top 4.
We're currently at 19. We need to get at least to top 16 to make the tournament. I think they do it. I think they make that tournament as one of the lower teams, like 13 or 14. I think they could create some chaos in it. Just please get a win for my birthday. Get a win for my birthday. That's all I'm asking. All right. Well, that's all we have for you at JJK today. I liked the episode. 40 minutes almost for you guys today, so try to keep it under 30.
We're consistent, guys. Drop a like, subscribe, comment go UNO if you made it this far. And that's all you got for me. That's all you got for college.
Either late Friday night or early Saturday morning will be when the hockey vlog drops. So stay tuned and we'll see you later.